I watched them all the time. I think I watched Indiana State and Iowa, CaitlinClark play about the same last year, so I was watching a lot of basketball.
In sports betting, CaitlinClark drives handle on the WNBA. When people come up and they say, are you going to put the Fever game on the big screen? And is it going to have sound? You have to pay attention to that. And of course, they're also...
Yep, I'm gonna say it. CaitlinClark is the best basketball player in the world. She's the best basketball player that I have ever seen. She is the difference maker. She is the needle mover. She is the face of basketball right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible, honestly, and I feel very fortunate and lucky to come here to stay in the Midwest. And you know, this is the franchise in all of women's sports, I say. You know, no matter what sport it is, you know, they're certainly investing. They see the type of crowds we get. They see the excitement we're generating not only in the state of Indiana, but all across the country. And I think the next few years are going to be amazing for this franchise, and will continue to be for hopefully 10 plus years, and hopefully we win a few championships. But they're investing to help us be really good. So
3 threes in 38 seconds in the first half. CaitlinClark hit 3 logo bombs, by the way. 3 logo bombs in 38 seconds. This was the CaitlinClark we all said, oh, she's different. She's sent from outer space. The CaitlinClark that we saw today was the CaitlinClark that we were accustomed to seeing. Oh, it feels good, folks.
The CaitlinClark show is very real, and CaitlinClark's ability to rise to the moment and put on a show is remarkable.
The media, I felt like, mishandled so many things with the WNBA last season, and specifically with CaitlinClark and her fan base. And that's one thing when you start thinking about how many people stopped watching when CaitlinClark got injured. A lot of people stopped watching because they are boycotting the WNBA. They don't want to give viewership to any other teams or any other players, whether they like other players on the team or not, because of how the media and the league itself has handled.
CaitlinClark's participation in the WNBA has accomplished a unique feat. She has succeeded in making each game a national occasion. Her influence extends much beyond the court where basketball is played. She has virtually instantly become the league's face in internet discussions, betting circles, and arena attendance. People pay attention each time she takes the stage. Businesses, networks, and even sportsbooks are included in addition to fans. She is now so important that real-time performance monitoring is done on her. Wagers on assists, scoring, rebounds, and even three-pointers. She contributes more than just her celebrity status. It's quantifiable, steady momentum that helps the league as a whole. Travel circumstances, pay, and visibility. The spark she supplied is responsible for many of the advancements that players are witnessing today. She has undoubtedly contributed to the league's recent increase in prominence.
One of the greatest single half performances I've ever seen in basketball. I've fully watched all of Magic, all of Bird, all of Chuck, all of Jordan, Ewing, Olajuwon, all of them. It was one of the best halves. It was in the top 5 best offensive halves of basketball I've ever seen.
She has also accepted the group of people who had faith in her. Playing for Indiana and remaining in the Midwest was more than just a professional decision. It was an opportunity to join a developing culture. The company has made significant expenditures in free agency investments and cutting-edge practice facilities that are paving the way for success in the future. In response, Clark has expressed his appreciation and resolve to help the floor succeed in recouping that investment. She has a strong bond with the franchise. Her dedication extends beyond the present. It's about creating something enduring and iconic. She provides everything she has, but it appears that the league is unable to come up with a way to help her in return. She has been carrying a tremendous burden for months, boosting a club, a brand, and, to be honest, an entire league that has always struggled for attention. She has, however, been mistreated, disregarded, and occasionally treated more like a bother than an icon, even if she has brought in millions. Everything seemed to alter in a single instant. Earlier last summer, during a heated altercation, Clark was pushed to the ground in what many thought was a premeditated move. The CaitlinClark presentation is so authentic, and her ability to step up and perform is amazing. She was given a technical foul instead of facing any severe repercussions for the behavior. No real protection for the star who is saving the league, and no suspension for the criminal. And that was it for a legend like Larry Bird. At that point, silent annoyance gave way to clamorous public indignation. Bird understands what it's like to be questioned and perceived as unique. Coming from Indiana, I joined the NBA during a time when flash and flair were all the rage. He was examined, questioned, and questioned. He accomplished more than simply survive, though. He rose to become one of the all-time greats. He recalls what it needed to alter a league's perception. He is currently witnessing the recurrence of history. Clark is the one confronting the obstacles this time, though. Although her court appearances alone are historic, there are other factors that contribute to the urgency of her case. In her debut season, she set records with almost 700 points and hundreds of assists, making Indiana games the most anticipated events in town. Every broadcast she appeared on garnered national notice. The ratings increased by a factor of 3. Those numbers fell when she had to miss games because of an injury. That isn't typical. That is hardly the usual impact of a rookie. Generational influence is what that is. In spite of this, Clark only receives a little portion of the revenue generated by her presence. Compared to the millions of dollars she has received in sponsorships, her league pay is hardly visible. The disparity is obvious. There is no denying her worth to the WNBA. However, it appears that the league is reluctant to fully accept her. When questioned about her involvement,
Clark's show is very real, and Caitlin Clark's ability to rise to the moment and put on a show is remarkable.
Bird has had enough of the backstage action. He has started to mobilize for change. Those with knowledge of the situation claim that he is willing to go above and above to encourage the establishment of a completely new franchise centered around Clark. Not only to play, but also to take charge, mold, and possess. It would be more than a team. It would be a declaration that says, when women's basketball is ready to embrace its stars rather than keep them quiet, it can flourish. Such a step would have massive potential repercussions. Since Clark joined the league, franchise values have already increased dramatically. The increase in Indiana alone has exceeded 270%.
Players clearing out that side of the floor, shooting on Stewie, and then watch the reaction with one another. Stewie's laughing. Caitlin knows it's ridiculous. Just out there having a good time.
The leadership of the league has a tendency to change the subject, as though recognizing her supremacy would somehow eclipse the rest of the field. They refrain from mentioning her by name. However, your greatest asset is a source of pride for any successful firm. Shielded and raised. Here, that hasn't occurred. Rather, Clark is nonetheless the object of overwhelming physicality, frequently without adequate retaliation. In the meantime, her visibility on social media, television, and in sponsor circles is increasing daily. Even while her involvement is higher than the league's overall, she is still not at the forefront of the conversation.
It's like a certain star quality and like star power there, but it takes you being confident enough, willing enough to be like, oh, no. I know what you want. Come here. I'm going to give it to you. I loved it so much.
What will cause change if that doesn't? Fans are beginning to voice their opinions. They observe the tone-deaf reactions, the lost chances, and the dismissed birds. It all leads to the same conclusion when Clark is elected a fan favorite but ranked low by the players, when her teammates are disciplined for standing up for her, and when the leadership doesn't include her when talking about improvement. Even while she is praised on the outside, she is still not fully accepted within the system. And since the star has choices this time, it's a risky game to play. Large ones. According to reports, international leagues have offered her multi-million-dollar contracts worth up to 40 times her current WNBA salary. There isn't much financial motivation to remain in a setting that doesn't appreciate her, especially when you consider her already substantial endorsement portfolio and the options that legends like Bird are providing that give her authority. This circumstance is similar to that of the NBA in the past, when Bird and Magic Johnson kept the league from going extinct. Their brilliance was not diminished by the NBA. It gave them attention, brought them into the spotlight, and as a result, saw the sport take off all over the world. It's the blueprint. All the WNBA needs to do is follow it. However, it is currently acting in the opposite way. It is attempting to flatten Clark's climb rather than ride it. The individual attracting millions of glances is not being promoted. Rather, they are reverting to their previous routines. And it's risking everything in the process. Bird's suggestion is therefore more than just a lifeline. It's difficult. A problem with the system that hasn't adjusted quickly enough. A willingness to forego safe politics in favor of audacious actions. An appeal for the league to acknowledge that players, spectators, and the game are all changing and that it needs to adapt. Clark isn't making demands in public. She hasn't voiced any complaints. She remained committed, turning up each night and allowing her performance do the talking. She can see what's going on, though. She is aware of the distinction between obligation and gratitude. She is aware of the contribution she makes. With Bird by her side, she now possesses a strength that very few athletes ever achieve. She can push the topic. She has the power to change the story. It is now totally up to her whether she decides to do it from outside the league or within it. The fact that time is running out is evident. The WNBA must make a decision. Accept the star who is providing them with a future, or else you run the chance of seeing her enter one that she created. A future in which the league might fall behind. Bird's suggestion isn't just a haphazardly generated notion that was thrown about in fury. It is a calculated move. He was an executive in the NBA. He is aware of how power is used. He has seen how leagues change when they start focusing on stars. He has also witnessed people lagging behind when they fail to pay attention to what is directly in front of them.